This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, oh, 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 oh. They knew me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the home team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster alone, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team, I had celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. You probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard top, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated, highly decorated. The home team is winning, celebrated. The victory is all mine, and everything is alright, alright. And you know how to see things, confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team, I had celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, oh, 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 oh.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid for Wednesday, January the 14th, 2026. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We are going to bring in the phone lines again, opening up at 3:30. So we'll do 3:35. Let me put the number in the chat. Let me do this real quick. And you can call before that if you want and leave a voice message. Leave your voice message. All right, I should have done this before. All right, leave your voice message. Oh man, how's everybody doing this afternoon? I'm doing well, man. I woke up this morning and I got a thought about the Detroit Lions, man, and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and something I wanted to kind of that. As I thought about this and I saw other people talk about the letter that she sent to fans, it was something in there that stood out. And I thought that it even bodes more so that this regime has to succeed in the near future. All right, let me see if I know this by heart. 536. And if you have the number, it's the same one as yesterday. It's going to be 0544. Right? No, yeah, 0544. Oh, you can hit enter. 0544. You can enter. I didn't know that. 0544. That's right? That's right. I think that's right, man. 0455. Yeah, 0544. That's right. All right. Shout out to everybody at the chat or in the chat. All right. So everybody knows that the Detroit Lions or the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin stepped down. We are still at 9 openings in the NFL as far as head coaching jobs, and we'll see how that plays out. But let me shout everybody else in the chat. We've got Nephew, what up, Doe? We've got Andy Bear. What's up? Andy, are you the one with the tickets, bro? Will I am in the building, says Mike McDaniel. Derek, a base man who happens to be black. God bless. Wait, what, bro? What about Mike McDaniel? He came yesterday. There's a picture going around. He took a picture with a fan in Detroit. Mike McDaniel feel like a pipe dream, says Lions Live 65. Too many head coaching jobs opening. Well, I mean, we'll see. It got to be the right fit, and maybe look with what is that? Over a third or a quarter of the league with open jobs, then yeah, one will probably fit. But yeah. Oh man, dog, my phone is charging. Oh, hold on. I forgot I got Twitter on my laptop. All right. Let me go to Twitter. Man, I know, like it's been 10 days since the Lions played, and I'm like, man, it feels like it's been longer, and then it feels like, are we really in the offseason? All right. Yeah, that's the one I was talking. Oh, that's the lady. She was low-key stalking him, bro. This lady was low-key stalking him. She was taking photos of him and everything. Shout out to Mike McDaniel, man. Shout out to Mike McDaniel. I'll bring that in a little later. Let me see. We got Big Black. What up, Bonzilla? What up? So Dan Campbell is gone. Don't tell me that. No, he's not gone. How do you feel about Dan Orlovsky being OC? I knew y'all were going to ask me about that. I actually just got finished watching a clip with that he was on Pat McAfee, and he actually would prefer to go to the Chargers, so he can go over there. But we'll talk about that as well. Man, can the next season start today already? Yeah. Hope Shepard gets a job. He is not going to get that job, Dern, but you can wish upon a star. I just failed. It says we've got, 6,800. Wait, what? Rich says, I just failed it. It says we got 6,800 loan just for you, Derek. I just caught it. What up, One Pride? What's good? All I know, let McDaniel Flores go to San Francisco. Let me see. So what are you saying? That's not the right number? Shep ain't going nowhere unless he gets fired. Yes. Look, Shepard is not getting a job. And I don't know if y'all understood what I was saying about the token black guy. People's like, he's not the token black. I'm like, y'all missed the whole point. The token black guy is a thing from like the 90s, bro. It's where you have the obligatory black person that's what Kelvin Shepard is. His interview with the Miami Dolphins is obligatory. It is because of the Rooney Rule. There's nothing more to that. There's nothing more. He's not going to get the job. The Miami Dolphins just fired Mike McDaniel, and they're going to hire a guy with 1 year defensive coordinator experience. Brian Flores to Baltimore. That would be something for sure. That would be something for sure. Okay, so I wanted to talk about something, and this is going to be a change of speed. It's going to be a change of pace for me because you guys know how I feel about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, respectively. You know who I blame more for where the Detroit Lions are currently sitting more than the other. But at the same time, they have an opportunity to get this thing right. And we've been talking about it for shows now. Can they get it right in the time that they have left? And Lions fans, man, I don't know, man. It's just sometimes like, I'm like, why do I even do this? But we'll talk about all that in the near future as the show goes on. Base Derry strikes again. So what did Matt Derry say? Lions Live says Dan Campbell has kept the same defensive scheme through two coordinators. Firing Shep is going to end up with the same thing. I think Shep is a good DC. I hope he sticks around and we can have a relatively injury-free defense for once. Yeah, when we talk about injury-free, we think about 2023 and how we didn't take advantage of that season. That's why I'm so salty, y'all. But okay, let's get into this, man, because I wanted to talk about this. Let me I need to fix this because I want to. No. Dang. So now that's stuck like that. Okay. All right. Okay. So what did he do? I'm getting spam forever from these tools saying we've got, hey, Rich, they do that to me too, bro. Even on Do Not Disturb, they break through Do Not Disturb. It is insane. It's insane. Shep should get fired. Hey, Dern not playing around. Dern is not playing around, man. Okay, what did Matt Derry do? What did he do? What did he do specifically? I used to watch Locked On Lions, and I used to watch it every day. And then for some reason, I just stopped. I don't know why. So what would it take to get McDaniel? Sheila would really have to sweeten the pot to get him to come, I think. Rich, I think that's exactly what would happen. I think that would, because you have the opportunity to coach everywhere, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they even opened up, which is insane. So I wonder if he's going to get on that. But he did interview with Detroit yesterday. We have no idea how it went. Of course, we won't know, but yeah. All right. So let's get into the first segment, because I was thinking yesterday, and, after some time passed, you think about, you get to not with a clearer head, but after you let emotions and stuff settle down, you think about, okay, well, you still got to, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell got to get this right. That's what I was getting from most of the creators that I was watching, is that they have to get this right. They cannot miss. They're in a point where they can't miss. And Sheila came out and said, well, she said yesterday that the drastic change, it's not time for that, but it is time to evolve, focus and move forward. And we're going to talk about that a little more. So what I'll do is at 3:35-ish or so, I'll go get my phone and bring in whatever voice messages you guys left. All right, so let's get into this first thing, man, because I wanted to talk about it. All right, let me have everything queued up. All right. Sheila Hamp came out yesterday and she said what she had to say about the 2025 season. And a lot of people, and I understand this, a lot of people feel like they can't trust her. And unfortunately for her, she's making up for the errors that her family made. Her family, her dad was the worst. Her mom, to me, her mom did better in the short time she was there. And her biggest mistake was firing Jim Caldwell. But Sheila Hamp come out, and she, to me, has been pretty much what an owner should be. She pays who she needs to pay. She gets out of the way. She or he, whatever it was, she gets out of the way. And that's what she does. So she lets the football dudes do what they do. She's not too involved. She's just involved enough. She sticks her nose in when she has to. She's not like a Jerry Jones or anything like that. But she came out and she had the letter to loyal Lions members yesterday. And a lot of people had mixed opinions about it. The SOL kind of sell the team crowd. They got to believe it. They got to see it to believe it. And I understand that. I'm not mad at that at all. But for me, I'm giving Sheila the benefit of the doubt. And I think she means what she says. Now, yesterday, it was some very telling things in that letter, that we're not going to fire anybody at this point. She doesn't believe we're there, but she does believe we need to focus, we need to evolve, and we need to move forward. And to me, that comes with a little bit of heat for both of the gentlemen. I think that Brad is under more. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. But she used the word yesterday, and I read it right, but I'm like, let me go and clarify what this word means. And then I really believed in her even more. And she used the word incumbent. And I don't know how many of you guys know what incumbent means off the top of your head, but here is what it means. This is one of the definitions. Necessary for someone as a duty or responsibility. So Sheila said, and it was incumbent upon them to bring a championship to the fans and to the city of Detroit. And when you break this down, it was their duty or responsibility. And when you think about a duty, you think about maybe the Army, you think about, some type of military person, that it is their duty to do these things, or a police officer or a doctor, right? You have a duty to your patients or the public. They have a duty to bring you a championship. And what that told me, something that I thought was already true, is that Sheila Hamp means business. She does. She might not be loud like Jerry Jones. She might not be involved in every single football decision that's made, but I believe that this woman wants a championship in Detroit. And I think that if these two gentlemen are not the guys, she will move on from them. And my personal belief, and I said this yesterday, that Sheila will, a couple things are going to happen. The off season of 2026 is going to happen so we can sign our own players. Then we have the tampering period and free agency officially begins. You have the new league year. Then you have the draft. And after the draft, and I don't think Sheila's going to make a decision between now and next year, this time next year. I don't think that. However, I do think that she's going to be sitting down. She's going to be watching with the people around her. She's already had a discussion with Brad and Dan, Rod. That was very clear in the letter. And she's expressed to them, they know right now what her expectations are. They know that already. Brad and Dan, they know that. Here's how I think it went. I don't think that the conversation happened. When we saw Dan Campbell on Sunday and Monday, I don't think the conversation happened. I think by the time we saw Brad on Thursday, the conversation with those two gentlemen happened. You could tell by the way Brad Holmes got in front of the media. He was totally different than what he was before. And I think that this year is going to play out like any other year. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they're going to have free agency. They're going to have the draft. They're going to have rookie minicamp, OTAs, so on and so forth. You're going to get into the preseason, training camp. Then the season is going to take place. My opinion is that Sheila, the bar is an NFC championship game. That is the bar that you must get back there. You cannot miss the playoffs again. You cannot get put out in the wild card. You cannot get put out in the divisional round. You must make the NFC championship game. With a word like incumbent, saying that it is Sheila's duty, it's Brad's duty, it's Dan's duty. And the more you say duty, the funnier it sounds. But it is their responsibility to bring a championship, not a division title, not a home playoff game, not a home playoff win, not a playoff win, a championship to the city of Detroit and the people that pay their money to go see the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. I think that Sheila Hamp means business. And I think that her usage of the word incumbent is even more proof of that she views it as a duty or her responsibility to get this done. Therefore, it is also Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Rod Wood, everybody attached to the Detroit Lions. But see, she put these two gentlemen she put them in charge of making that happen. I'll sit back. I'll pay whoever needs to be paid. I'll sign whatever I need to sign. I put you in this place. And that's the beauty about having a GM like Sheila and not like Jerry Jones, where he's the GM, the owner, and he's the end all be all. Sheila says, I will hire you to do this for us. I'll get out the way. You were brought in here to do a job. I expect that from you. So I don't know. I know. Look, if you're bothered, if Sheila has to win you over, I understand. You have decades of same old Lions, decades of sell the team, decades of the Ford family showing you who they are. And it's her job to undo all of that. And I think she's en route to do that. I really do. I mean, she's done more than her dad and her mom before her. So I'm going to give Sheila Hamp the benefit of the doubt. I have seen much more. What you want to do with Brad Holmes, I'm giving that to Sheila, because Sheila's been around. The Fords, we have had to deal with the same thing all the time for a long time. And now we have an owner that is coming out, being vocal, whether it's in written form or coming out and sending it on the platform. And the fact that she fired Matt Patricia, took the time, had a firm, an outside source come in and help with the hiring of Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. So I believe in Sheila, and I think she's going to get it done. So let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, I missed the super chat. I will get to it. Let me pull it up. I thank you guys for that. Let me see. All right, the super chat we got from my man Gias says, to the channel, to the channel. Well, thank you, sir. Grid, what's your thoughts on Ben Johnson and the Bears if he was to go all the way? Would DC and Brad Holmes be fired? Hey, that is a great question, and ironically, I wanted to talk about that. That's a great question. Y'all going to watch the game Sunday night? I'm watching all the games. The only game that I did not watch a single snap was the Pittsburgh game. I did not watch a single snap of that game. I watched the 5 before that, but I did not watch that game at all. Appreciate you, Jizz. Okay, what's the earliest we know hiring? There is no timeline, bro. There's no timeline. Studio says William Clay Ford wanted the New York Yankees of the NFL. That's where the personality thing comes from. We need to evolve from that. We're going to have to. Steelers just requested an interview with Brian Flores. Ooh, that would be something. TM, you are where is my money, bro? TM, look, you can't come in with the bear down, my brother. You can't come in with that. You know what I'm saying? Any Bears fan that watch y'all just this is the problem, bro. You can't come in with the bear down. All right. You know, take me out to dinner first. All right. Buy me a drink or something. You know what I'm saying? You just bear down. That instantly gets you kicked out of here. For real. How I am enjoying the offseason. I really am. I really am. And I think that it's going to go a long way. Please give me a mod wrench. Derek, let's say the Bears do make the Super Bowl and Ben Johnson wins the ring. Just like that, what do you think Brad and Dan's hot seat should be? Okay, all right. Let's get into it. Shout out to GS with the question. All right. I wish I still had the super. Can I go up? Okay, I do. All right. So the Detroit Lions fans, I just left Cancun. My ticket to Cabo is already booked, and I am going to I think my flight is next week sometime. Myself, the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Lions put together a fan experience for us to go to Cabo and kick it with our favorite players as we enjoy the offseason. And of course, if you don't know by now, I'm joking. But we got a question that I think is serious, and it's going to go, it has some weight to it. So GS with the super chat says, Grid, what's your thoughts on Ben Johnson and the Bears if he was to go all the way? Would Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes be fired? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. No, they wouldn't be. No, they wouldn't. But that seat warmer to me would be uncomfortably warm. And you know what? I thought about this last night, and I said, Derek, in order for your team to get better, in order for Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell to understand the severity. Now, I believe Dan Campbell sees it. Brad Holmes might see it now, and we're going to see in this offseason. But you have to pick one. Which one is worse? Ben Johnson winning the Super Bowl or Matthew Stafford winning another one? I think you are in a lose-lose situation. So I'm going to put it in the chat. Which one is worse? You have to pick one. You cannot say they both. You have to pick one, and I'll give you my answer. Which one is worse? Ben Johnson winning the Super Bowl his first year away as Chicago Bear head coach, or Matthew Stafford winning his second away from the Detroit Lions in 5 years? Jacob says Ben winning is way worse. Juan says Matthew Stafford, I got no problems with the Bears. All right. Andy says Benedict, Bears, Ben easily, Ben winning, Ben Johnson for sure, Ben Johnson, but he not winning. Okay. So it looks like it might be 60-40 Ben Johnson winning the Super Bowl. And I am going to push back. I'm going to say Stafford. I'm going to say Stafford is worse. Ben Johnson is up there, but I'm going to say Stafford is worse because Stafford was everything wrong with the Detroit Lions for years. So you got to look at it like this, and this is why I would pick Stafford. Stafford spent 12 years with the Detroit Lions. His first year, he goes off and wins a Super Bowl. In 5 years, he could win 2. In 12 years, he didn't win a playoff game. Now, all of that was not the Detroit Lions' fault. There were some other things happening as well. And Stafford is the same quarterback he was then, back then as he is now. But Stafford, after spending more than twice the amount of time in Detroit and winning 2 Super Bowls in 5 years in LA, that to me is way worse. Now, let's go back to Ben Johnson. Oh, Ben Johnson winning the Super Bowl. his first year away from Detroit. I already think it's bad. It's also a kick in the head. But guess what? It's one that this team needs. I believe that firmly. And that's what I was talking about in the offseason, is this team, this fan base, this regime, they needed a kick in the face. That's what they needed. Brad Holmes was the one in the club walking around with the gold chain on, positional value villain, gold chain, a big old chain. He had the Rolex, all the rings on his finger, the Cartier, whatever the most expensive thing out there he had, and he was walking in the club with his bodyguards. You know what happened to Brad Holmes? They caught him outside. This year is the equivalent of catching Brad Holmes outside and leaving him on the street. Because either way it goes, you are in a lose-lose situation. But I look at it as a win because I have been talking about this forever. You cannot dink and dunk your way to a Super Bowl. It does not happen. Brad got cute. He got full of himself. And now we are on the outside looking in. The brother voice was, why? He was shaking the whole time. The entire press conference, Brad Holmes had the shaky voice, bro, because Sheila already had this conversation. How dumb are you going to look that Ben Johnson, even now, the fact that Ben Johnson wins the division, the fact that he had a better record than you, the fact that he is now in the divisional round, the fact that your ex-coordinator is playing your ex-quarterback and you are at the crib. You are packing up to go to Cabo when you were in prime position to dominate the NFC North. But you let it fall by. You know why? Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pasco, Broderick Martin. This is why. The Bears traded for Montez Sweat. The Rams traded for Matthew Stafford. You got to pull your head out the dirt, my brother, and make this team better. So, for me, I think Stafford is worse because it's a double kick in the head. Not only did I win, you at the but they both are bad. But they're both good at the same time. It's like being caught, because what did you learn? What do you think Brad Holmes? We're going to see if he learned. Brad Holmes learned one thing. When you go in the club, stop acting like you all that. All right? Maybe you tone it down a little bit. You leave a chain at the crib in the safe. You take off them rings. You leave a Rolex at the crib. You drive the cheapest car you got to the club. That's what you do. So I'm for either one. I'm going to tell you right now. Because as a Lions fan, we hear this is what we do. We take the good with the bad. Snake wins the title. Hey, that's a kick in my team's face. And now that's even more pressure on Brad and Dan to get it done. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, bro. Because the way that they were doing things was not going to get it done. I've been on record saying that grit, I have been saying for 2 years, is grit enough for us to win the Super Bowl. And now it is beyond a shadow of a doubt not enough for us to win. And maybe, but see, I'm not in charge of the team. I'm a basement general manager. I'm a talking head. That's what I do. So it ain't my responsibility to fix this team. I don't get paid to fix it. I get paid to talk about it. So for me, either one, bro. But I think Stafford is worse. But hey, you're talking about lesser of two evils. But how dumb are you going to feel as a Detroit Lions fan that your ex-quarterback wins it the first year he's away? He wins it this a second time in 5 years. That your ex-coordinator is in Super Bowl contention 1 year away while you at the crib signing Marcus Davenport. Now you understand why if you sign Marcus Davenport, fired immediately. Jazzy Jeff, straight out the house. First plane back to wherever you came from. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here. So let me know in the comments below, which one is worse to you? For me, Stafford all day, but either way, it's a lose-lose situation. But maybe, because see, I think Brad Holmes was thinking dynasty too. Matter of fact, he said as much. He didn't use the word dynasty, but he acting like he building for the future. And I'm like, dog, you ain't going to be here. You're not going to be here. These GMs and coaches get comfortable like they can't be replaced in a heartbeat. You don't think somebody right now is terrified of getting fired for John Harbaugh? Or if they better be glad that Mike Tomlin is taking a year off. You don't think somebody would be terrified if those two coaches are out there and they might win a playoff game? Please. I guarantee you that more teams will put more trust in those two gentlemen who have been stagnant for a very long time than their current regime. I guarantee you that. So let me know your thoughts down below. Okay, how long have we been on? All right, so we got 5 more minutes, and I'll go get my phone and see if we got any voice message. Brad is flat out cheap. Juan, I don't think Matt quit on us, brother. Okay, let me see. The Lions wasted Stafford while he was here. Brad was humbled. He was a humble man at the podium, but we still dying on the heel opposite Hutch, and I fear it's another James Houston situation. See, I don't know if he was humbled, bro. We don't know yet. We know he sounded like he was humbled, but actions speak louder than words. A picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So when you start doing it, we will see. That's why I said, if Davenport come back, fire immediately. I would throw, you know what I would do? If the windows open in his office, and I heard, if I'm Martha, I'm 100 years old, and I'm going to get my butler to take me up to Allen Park. I'm going to take the elevator up to the second floor. I'm assuming it's on the second floor. I'm going to scoot my way on my scooter to his office. I'm going to have my butler assist me with my cane to his desk. I'm going to have my butler open the window, and I'm going to proceed to throw stuff from his desk all out of the window, bro. If you re-sign Marcus Davenport, you need to be fired immediately. That's it. Shout out to Rufus with the super chat. Says, hey, big dog, appreciate you. It's sickening reading all these Detroit Lions news media outlets glazing Stafford. I would rather the Bears win versus the Rams winning another Super Bowl. You know what, bro? It's crazy because I haven't seen that. I must be detached enough that I haven't seen that. I know that Twitter is like, they want Stafford to beat. My ideal situation would be Stafford to beat Ben Johnson and for the Seahawks to beat Stafford. That would be a great end to my year. But you know what? I'm like, what if Stafford did win the Super Bowl? That might be more what's needed. Because think about this. Stafford winning the Super Bowl or Ben Johnson winning the Super Bowl happens before free agency. And if Brad Holmes, if he hasn't learned now, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. I don't care if Brad keeps Davenport as long he's depth in only 1 year. No. Gary, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. That's all I can say about that. All right, let me get this new segment. I'll do one more segment, and I will go get the phone. Detroit Lions fans, we are probably the most loyal fan base in the NFL. We are the oldest franchise in the NFL to not appear in a Super Bowl. We're the only NFC team to not appear in a Super Bowl. And we are at the crib watching an expansion team, the same team that had David Carr long time ago, who was sacked 73 times or something crazy like that. A team that did not exist when I graduated high school. When the new millennium came, they weren't even here. And we're watching them on the cusp of doing something unprecedented. Already started 0-3, made the playoffs. Now become the 7th team in NFL history to do so, joining themselves as the last team from 2018. We are the most loyal fan base, in my opinion. We also are we are spread from Germany to Africa to LA, went to LA, Rams house, nobody cared. You know what I heard? Go Lions. That's what I heard. Because I had Lions gear on, go Lions. And the Lions organization know that. We are starving for a championship when it comes to the Detroit Lions. And I saw this yesterday, and I've got no problem with this individual. I look forward to meeting them when I go to Ford Field, hopefully. But I got a comment on my video on Lion Syndicate from last night about Sheila Hamp and my criticism of her letter when it comes to, or my thoughts on her letter to loyal Lions members. And here's what Miss Mocha had to say. She said, "This is my first time tuning in to your channel, but what's hilarious to me is how individuals like yourself build a platform criticizing a team that you don't even support financially. You got the letter sent to us loyal Lions members." And I love how she claims us, "from a friend. Have you ever been to a game in the Dan Campbell era? Seriously, or era, I can't take y'all serious." And I responded with a few voice messages to her in hilarious fashion, if I might say so myself. So you come across my channel for the first time, and like most, there's no research done. Which I find it very odd that, you just came across my channel, but that's okay. So then she finds it hilarious that people like me criticize the team that I don't even support financially. Okay. All right. So my entire studio, some of which you can see, is all lions. This lion behind me wasn't cheap. Okay, but that's merchandise, which supports the team. But let me go to the part that I love the best. You got a letter sent to us loyal Lions members from a friend. Okay, so people who are season ticket holders are very defensive. It's like, okay. So my response to the young lady was, I'm being criticized because I don't spend a dime on a team, right? But you misspoke, because I do. I've been to Ford Field for free. I've paid for Ford Field to get into Ford Field. I'm on the wait list to become a season ticket holder. I have been on my own dime to games outside of the state of Michigan. But I found it funny that the shade was thrown in my direction and others who criticized the team, when equally amount of shade or more shade could be thrown back on them, the loyal Lions members, because you have paid for an inferior product over the whatever time that you've been a loyal Lions member. And I'm not talking just about her, anyone else. I've got people reaching out to me, some in this very comment section, saying that they are not opting in to their season tickets. I had a guy email me, a viewer of the channel, telling me after 7 years he was done. You know why? Because there's no sense of urgency with the team. He got in when Matt Patricia got here, after he was fired, after Jim Caldwell was fired, because 9-7 wasn't good enough and you can't beat the good teams. So I'm criticized because I'm choosing not to spend my money on a team that doesn't give me it in return. So just to be clear, you go to Ford Field, you spend a bunch of money to get in there, a bunch of money to park. Then you go buy a Bud Light, a Vizzy, a Truly for literally 5 or 6 times what it would cost in your local convenience store. So every time you go, you spending a minimum of $150. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I will never be credentialed. I don't want to be. The Lions will never look in Lions Syndicate direction, because I am not that type of fan. So I thought it was kind of funny, and there's no disrespect to the young lady and anybody else that does this. That's what you choose to do. But what really kind of grind my gears is the fact that she said, I can't take y'all seriously. That's hilarious, because I would say that I was the smart one, or the one that should be taken serious, because I value my money. I value my money. Let me tell you something. It's taking everything I got to stay on this season ticket list. It's taking everything I got, because I'm watching this team, and you watch Brad Holmes and you get up there, and for me to not be taken seriously, I sure do hit a whole lot. So maybe you should. And this is not directed solely at Miss Mocha. All right. This is directed to anybody that feel the same way. So because I value my dollars and I value my cents, and it doesn't make sense for me to spend money at a place that they don't value that money. Because if they did, then they would understand that we are starving for a winner. So these type of people, the loyal, how can we take you seriously? Anybody that does this, I applaud anybody that stayed a season ticket holder for decades. And even now, I applaud you. Ticket prices went up because we had 2 good years. Does that seem like, so I'm the one getting criticized? That's hilarious. But even with all that, even with this, what this team has done over the past year, I am still on the list. I'm hanging in there. I'm expecting a call because I told you that it was going to be a mass exodus this offseason. I said that. You raising prices. It's already an arm and a leg, and Ford Field is expensive. I went to U.S. Bank Stadium, which is a superior stadium. I went there. Beautiful stadium. I go to buy some chicken tenders, fries, and a drink. Got my card, and she told me $10. Now, this was in 2023. She told me, I was like, $10? Like, yeah, 10. It was like 10:06. Say what? I said, wow, it's crazy. She was like, what's up? I was like, Ford Field is ridiculous. It would be at least 20-something to get this. So, a lot of criticism going around. She can't take us seriously. She can't take me seriously when it really might be the other way around. But if that's how you want to spend your money, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to choose to spend my money taking care of my family and doing it what I should be doing as a man, than giving it to a team that does not give me that same thing back. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think there was a point for Miss Mocha? Because I'm like, maybe you should look in the mirror. Yeah. Like, you know what, y'all? Let me go get my phone. I'm going to keep it a buck. You know who I got a lot of respect for? Is It's Too Easy. Him and Katie, I got a lot of respect because it's too easy. Now, okay, does the content help out? Yeah. Content probably helps facilitate a lot of that. But you don't get on TV. You don't get in Lions videos unless you're a Lions loyal member. You ain't going to call me crack man. You might call me a crackhead, but I'm not going to ever be crack man. I'm not going to ever be Lions main. I'm not going to ever be Megan Stefanski. I'm not going to ever be the Afro dude. I'm not going to ever be lionized. I don't want to be those people. I don't care. I can be nobody. And I wear a Lions loyal. That's what they want. They want people to blindly follow the team. That's what they want. And everyone has their, and you know what? When you think about it, it's even worse. It's even worse that, if you think about it, the way that Lions, and not only Lions fans, but fans in general, how they commit to their team, the attachment. A lot of these people have deep attachments. If you ever seen Megan's story, her dad, right? Her dad was at the Silver Dome and and the Lions are so much more than football. They're family. So it's even more egregious when the team doesn't give you the same thing back. And it's okay if you see that. Look, it's okay if you spend all your money on Lions tickets. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, it's like I said, it's hard enough. It's hard enough. Stan, I had a guy reach out to me today. He was in the comment section of another video. And he said, Derek, I didn't renew my tickets. I opted out because every year I guess you have to opt back in. And he said, Derek, I'm opting out. And I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. Section 123. And he was like, it might take you a couple years to kind of move up there. Would you be interested? And I was like, I don't got that type of money, bro. You know what I'm saying? To be sitting up there. But what they want you to do is, Lions, they want you to try to find somebody to transfer the tickets to. And I can do it. So I'm gonna be up in the threes with the rest of them. And maybe by the time I can work my way up there, the team will be worthy of me sitting up there. I mean, real talk. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just found it funny. Like, but even in her profile pic, you know, she's got Lions gear on and stuff like that. And I was like, I'll see you at the stadium. Like I'll see you on the road game. So yeah, but yeah, it's too. I got a lot of respect for them, man, because I know that has to be hard. That's not something I could do. I can't afford to do that. I'm not. I don't know their situation, but I can't afford to do that. But it's cool because they bring the experience to everybody. Home, away, rain, sleet, cold, it doesn't matter. They're there, and that's an experience that I can't bring. But that's a serious financial obligation that I cannot commit to. You know what I'm saying? I have a wife, I have a child. I can't. And shout out to those guys because I know it takes a lot. Okay, I'll be right back. Let me go get my phone and I will return with voicemails. All right, so we only have one voicemail, and it's actually no, we have two. We got two. So one is from Lions Live 365. Hopefully you still in here. And let's see what he had to say. So this is a individual who has his own YouTube channel. He started recently, I think somewhere during this offseason, he started creating Detroit Lions content. And it's great to see. I love when new people pop up. I love it because I know I was inspired by back when I started making content, and whether or not you guys believe it, I am a OG in the space. Like I've been doing it. It's me and a couple other guys. So who've been doing it for a while. And we were doing it before it was cool, before, YouTube was around for maybe about 12, 13 years, and it wasn't what it is now. Now, like, this is before the partner program became what it was. Like, there was no partner program. You made videos, you could hit a certain milestone, and you got paid. But it was very difficult to be paid. Now, in the last decade, YouTube has become a lot more corporate, and so have, like, the Lions creator. So people pop up, and it's great. It's great because I know that, I'm not saying I inspired him, but I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that I inspired to make content. Only because I was one of the first people to really do it, with the microphone, with the audio, with that stuff. Like, there were people doing it before me, but I was one of the first people to do it like this. So I love to see these new guys pop up. And it's cool because you look at, when you see them pop up, you're like, yo, maybe I can have this person on a show. Like, that's the first thing I think of. And sometimes it worked out, sometimes it doesn't. and then sometimes they stab you in the back. Sometimes they do like that. Like it kind of do like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I think that's why you don't see a ton of Lions people create. They don't collaborate. And then sometimes you got sneaky good. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, so now that whole thing is out the way, so I'm gonna set this up. So Lions Live 365. He is pro Brad Holmes. Like he's more of Dan Campbell is the one letting the team down. I am Brad Holmes. He was super high on Al-Qadim Muhammad, me not so much, right? So we have a very respectful difference of opinion. So here, hopefully it doesn't pop, but if it is popping, I know how to fix it. Here is my man. Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. You still in here. All right.
Live 365 from Virginia. I am calling because Dan Campbell is the bigger problem out of the two. I believe both of them did a poor job recently, but let's be real. Dan Campbell has missed on, 2 OC hires? He's the one that didn't kick the field goals in the NFC Championship game. He's the one that won't let go of a very dumb defensive scheme that requires the edge opposite of Aiden Hutchinson to be basically D-tackle size. So, yes, it's hard to find Julius Peppers and Reggie White to go across from Aiden Hutchinson. Another thing, the practice schedule. Tony Dungy, he compared our practices to practices in the 70s. Maybe having the most intense practices during the season, might cause us to have more injuries than the next team. So as far as I'm concerned, as big as Brad failed, Dan has had major failures and no one is paying attention to it. And that's my take.
All right. Appreciate the take. And it was solid. It was solid. Okay, so what do you guys feel about that? So here, let me just first the Dan Campbell thing. Okay, so Dan Campbell, to me, gets everything that you said about taking the points. Got to do that. Failing offensive coordinators, 100%. Okay, the defensive scheme. I'm saying to myself, okay, well, what about your defensive coordinator? Right? They could also say some things. So I don't know, but I feel like that is also a Brad Holmes situation. So I can agree with you on some of those things. The reason that I come at Brad Holmes like I do, and I hope that's the right number. If you guys can call in and leave your voicemail, we'll do that for the last 10, 15 minutes of the show. We'll try to do that every day. There's a reason that I am on Brad like I am, okay? And why I target him the way that I do. Because Dan Campbell coaches the team. So his coaching, it comes with the good and the bad, right? So his coaching gets us to 15-2. His coaching gets us to the NFC Championship game. His coaching might have lost that NFC Championship game. And all of those are valid things. For me, specifically, my irritation and the reason why Brad Holmes is a target is because up until this year, Dan Campbell was the one that stood in front of the media. He's the one that said we had to get better, or we need to do this, or this falls on me, blah, 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 blah. Brad Holmes, you don't hear none of that. You don't hear none of that. You don't hear any, and nobody was saying anything year 1, year 2. Nobody was saying any of those things. You draft Jahmyr Gibbs, everything changes. Now, your stuff don't stink. And this is when my problem with Brad Holmes came to be. If you guys go, and Lions, I don't think he was making content back then, but anybody that's been watching me for a while, in 2023, I was saying this is prior to the NFC Championship game. We didn't even start playing yet. And I said, yo, we got to get a pass rush. We got to get a pass rush. Can we go get, A, person B, person C? What are we going to do in free agency? And this is as we're approaching a lot of guys that became available. So now we go into the 2023 draft. And I'm sitting there, okay? All right. You take Jahmyr Gibbs, okay. All right. Jack Campbell, okay. Brian Branch, okay. Sam Laporta, okay. Now, this is after a free agency in which you didn't do anything. Okay. Now we get to the third round. Hendon Hooker falls. You take him, okay. Then you trade up for Broderick Martin. And now it's like, well, okay, well, the edge rushers that were drafted after Broderick or before, they haven't done anything. They've done more than him. And in addition to that, and this is not directed at Lions 365. In addition to that, you trade up for Broderick Martin for what reason? Who told you that Broderick was worth any draft capital at all? You were picking 122, and you thought he was so coveted that you trade up to 96. So this is after a free agency that you did not a darn thing on the defensive line, worth 2 cents. You then decide we don't need nobody on the D-line at all in the first 2 rounds of the draft. You take Hendon Hooker, and which is okay, I get it. And then you trade up for Broderick. All right. Now I'm sitting there. I'm saying, who is this? Who? Okay. All right, cool. Now, nobody reacted to Broderick, really. Except who? So you're saying, okay, well, he must be the real deal. I don't know who he is. Mel Kiper flipping through it. Broderick, I had him undrafted. That's Mel Kiper. So now you're like, okay, all right, okay. Now we get to training camp. Broderick ain't doing nothing. People like, I don't know if wow, this might be a reach. They using the word reach. Okay. Now we're playing. You didn't do anything. Nothing at all. 2023 draft or trade deadline comes, and the best you could do is, we traded a 6th-round pick for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Okay. Now, this whole time, we need an edge rusher opposite Aiden because we have Romeo at this time, who was probably thinking about taking pictures, to be real with you. So I'm saying, Brad, get us an edge rusher. Get before it's too late. Please do this before it's too late. We traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Okay. All right. Chase Young was available. All right. I'm not high on him anymore. I was higher on him back then. He was available. Could have got him. But we traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Why? Why did we do it? You could say because we lost Marvin Jones. Okay. All right. Valid. Did we really need another wide receiver at this point? Not really, but okay. So you offset one with the other. Donovan Peoples-Jones proceeds to do absolutely nothing in a year that you are wind up 12-5. So now we're heading to the NFL playoffs. And what do? A few games left. You go and you sign Bruce Irvin off the couch. Now I'm saying to myself, dog, you can't be serious. So not only in 2023, you did absolutely nothing for the D-line. You played with Broderick Martin in the draft, and he probably would have went undrafted. So now all of this is compounding. It is now gathering on me. It's weighing me down. Then you go get a 36-year-old man who gets a sack with the team, by the way, who also laughed at us this past season. By the way, it was a tweet. He laughed, which I thought was get back at Brad Holmes, to be honest with you. So now we get to the playoffs, and I'm screaming the whole time. You guys know because you were here. I was talking about getting to the passer. That's all I was talking about. We get to the NFC Championship game. Also, I was talking about defense. And I didn't believe in Aaron Glenn. I just didn't because I'm like, okay, he's stubborn, blah, blah, blah. But does he have all the pieces? Now we get to the NFC Championship game, and we can't get to Brock Purdy. We do, but we don't get to him when it matters because that's what I was saying. So to me, you had Ben Johnson being cute. You had Dan Campbell not taking the points 100%. But the defense was always an issue. You had an opportunity to trade away a first-round pick for a guy. I don't think Brad Holmes actually tries. But what really started to do me in or do him in with me was 2023. When the swag became too much to handle. Because to me, outside of a few Applebee's commercials and Cure Auto and Sam Bernstein, Dan Campbell has stayed the same. He cry, he say man a lot, and he take responsibility. And he need to improve on some things. There's no doubt about that. But Brad Holmes is the one, to me, that changed. He's the one that changed. He all of a sudden became a villain when he wanted to. Fast forward to 2024. You sign DJ Reader in free agency, coming off an injury. This is after signing Emmanuel Mosley, coming off an injury. So this pattern of you drafting and signing hurt players continues. Now, okay, Brad, still ain't done nothing at the pass rusher position. All of a sudden, we hear you're signing Marcus Davenport coming off of a season-ending injury. You can't be serious. This is when I said, oh, this is who he is. This is who he is. 2024 goes by. Oh, what do you know? He gets hurt. Brad had to know that. But after that, you still need a pass rusher because there's no way Marcus, he thinks Marcus Davenport is the answer. There's no way. You then draft Terrion Arnold. Okay. All right. Your fixation with corners is there. It is there. You done already piled up. All Brad Holmes did was corner. And it's like they start getting gutted. Even this year, corner, secondary, DB, gutted. That's all you've done. Now, what do? You take Terrion. Okay, you wanted Quinyon Mitchell, but you couldn't get up there, allegedly. So then the second round comes around. You go decide to get Ennis Rakestraw. What are we doing? I don't even remember nobody else from 2024. I'm going to be real. I don't even remember. Now, 2025, the offseason comes again. But before that, you trade for Zadarius Smith because we had to. Now, this is the story. That's why I'm telling it. I got to tell the whole story. You trade for Zadarius Smith because we have to. But wait a minute. You signed Marcus Davenport because you thought he was the guy. So why did you have to trade for Zadarius Smith? Oh, is it because everybody named Mama knew that this wasn't the guy? So you trade for Zadarius Smith. Him retiring is irrelevant. It really is. You trade for Zadarius Smith. He's under contract for a year. And this is when I knew that we were cooked. I said, Brad, he might not be the guy. The 2025 offseason comes. We are sitting and we going live for free agency tampering. We live. We lit. We ready. We ready. We all know what's coming. We ready. Did somebody tell Brad it's free agency? Is this thing? Is it broke? 2 hours go past, nothing. He decides to bring back Marcus Davenport. I was like, dog, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. And for me, that was it. That was it. This is after you decide that Zadarius Smith is worth cutting. So it told me you traded for Zadarius Smith, who was under contract, part of your team. You cut him in favor of a dude who had a 1-year deal, was technically no longer on your team, and was hurt the last year. And why would you do that? What sense does that make for you to cut Zadarius Smith, who performed in Cleveland and here, in favor of a guy who couldn't stay on the field for the last 2 years? I'm like, make it make sense. Oh, the money. You know what? We didn't do anything with that money. We set mostly on that cap, that available cap that we had all year. I mean, we might have given this guy a little bit, this practice squad dude a little bit, but for the most part, we set on the money. And now here we are, missing the playoffs. 9-8, bottom of the NFC North. And I have always said it's because we need talent on this team. Excuse me, Lions fans, they get so attached to their players. They get so attached to their players. We got Jack Campbell. I think it was you, Lions. You were talking about how somebody said on Twitter that we got Jack Campbell. No, it wasn't you. It was somebody else. I made a post. And you know what? Let me find it. Let me find it because I'll be dropping some heat, bro. And I am going to, I didn't post a lot yesterday, but here are my thoughts on Okay, where is it at? Now, that was January 13th. Okay, here we go. This is it. And this is why I blame Brad Holmes more than Dan Campbell. All right. So this is a tweet that I made. And first of all, I don't know why when I do things, they get attention. I just don't know what it is. I know I got the check mark, but I swear, man, I can say anything and it gets a bunch of attention from Lions fans and, Bears fans, whoever. So I put this unpopular opinion. I think it may be too late for Brad Holmes to fix this team in the 2 years he has left. That is a fact. He has 2 years left. No one can deny that. You can't debate it. You can't contradict it. He currently has 2 years left. I didn't say anything wrong there. He may not have the time or resources to do it. Why did I say that? Well, because you need 2 years, and we got a lot of holes on this team. Now, Lions 365 feel like we might be 3 to 4. I think you said. I think it's a little more than that. I think it's maybe 5, 6, especially depending on what happens with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. The Houston Texans had the number 1 defense in the league. Every move Holmes tried to make, they made. And what I'm referring to is when you want somebody, you go do it. D'Amico Ryan said, I want my franchise quarterback. I want my franchise defensive end. I'm going to go and get them. He used other first-round picks to do that. I love Jahmyr Gibbs just as much as the next Detroit Lions fan, but we passed on Jalen Carter. Now, let me bring myself back on camera for this one. In that sentence, I'm saying that we passed on a defensive player in favor of an offensive one. That's what I'm saying. Not only a defensive player, but the player that most people had going number 1 until the stuff came out. When that other stuff came out, I remember it like it was yesterday. 2023 was insane. It was Jalen Carter versus do you want him or do you not? And yes, did he fit from what the Lions are looking for outside the lines? No, he didn't. He didn't. And we knew he wasn't going to take him, that we were not going to draft him because that's not what we do. Even though we could have used him, right? But we wanted to get Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, I'm saying, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's great. There's no doubt about it. He's very special. He's got potential out the door. But you know what I'm looking at? The Houston Texans, where defense gets you, right? So here it is that they don't got nobody fancy. They got Woody Marks. They got Nick Chubb. And that's all they needed. Now, we could have had, and just entertain this for 1 second. Let's have a serious conversation. And let me finish this, and then I'll go back to that because that's one of my problems. I get distracted. All right, so I'll finish this. But we passed on Jalen Carter. Whether you wanted him or not is irrelevant. I didn't really want him, but we passed on him. Brad goes after and rewards who he wants. The Texans defense is how you start 0-3 and make the divisional round. And I should have said the Lions defense is how you're 9-8 and you miss the playoffs. So let's have a different conversation. And I want to spice things up. So shout out to everybody in the chat. We have great conversations over here. And I want to have a timeline conversation. Let's have a split timeline conversation. Let's go back to 2023. And this is for the purposes of how different would our team be? And would it be different in a better way? Now, what am I talking about? If you guys are into timeline, every decision you make creates a different timeline. And in some stories, every decision you make creates a different universe. Shout out to the multiverse. So let's multiverse this thing for a minute. And I want you to tell me the reason of this multiverse experiment is I want to know how you would feel about this team versus that team. And we're only going to look at this specific event. Now, there are multiple things that go in place here and things that could have happened, but we're going to look at this event. And I want you to tell me, even though we know how it turned out and one we could imagine how it turned out, which one do you think you would be leaning toward? Okay. And that's including the stuff we know in hindsight about this particular player. The year is 2023. The Detroit Lions are coming off their second season. They end the season strong, 9-8, missed the playoffs, put Aaron Rodgers out. Off season, most excited we've been in the last 6-7 years. The NFL draft is approaching. The Lions have their second of the 2 Matthew Stafford picks. Matthew Stafford and the Rams, they weren't that good. Coming off had a Super Bowl hangover, missed the playoffs. He was hurt. They wind up having the 6th pick in the draft. That's how bad. I think it was 5-12 or something like that they were. We are right where we are now. We had the 18th pick. 9-8, missed the playoffs, right around there. There's a debate in the offseason. Who's going to go number 1? Who should the Lions take at 6? Who should they do? Should they trade away a pick? Should they trade up to get this guy? What should they do? Draft comes. We hear names starting to fly off the board. Okay. All right. We knew Bryce Young was going number 1. We knew CJ Stroud was going number 2. Then we're sitting there and people are wondering who's going to go number 3. Now, there was another name at number 1, and he was there for a while. And Lions fans wanted this guy. It didn't matter what he did, they wanted him. And he was projected to go 1. Then something really terrible happened, and you knew his draft stock plummeted. So now you have Bryce Young, you've got CJ Stroud, and now you have the Houston Texans. They trade up and they get Will Anderson Jr. Okay. So now you're sitting at pick 4, pick 5. The Lions are pick 6. So we're wondering, oh man, who are the Lions going to take? Now this individual is sitting on the board still. At 6. Number 5 is Witherspoon. That's a lot of people had us taking him. Brad, now in hindsight, I think that is the guy he wanted. His fascination with secondary players tells me that Devon Witherspoon was the guy he wanted. Seattle takes him at 5. At this moment, Jalen Carter is sitting there at 6. The Detroit Lions have traded with whoever it was, and that's the announcement we got. Jalen Carter is still sitting there. So we go from 6 to 12. People started to come off the board. Jalen Carter goes. We take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, Jack Campbell at 18. There's our first round. Now, here is the timeline scenario that I want to speak of. You've got 2 different teams. At this time, in the free agency of 2023, we signed David Montgomery. We let Jamal Williams walk. DeAndre Swift is still on the roster. Now, I understand that this is a different DeAndre from 2020, from after his time with the Detroit Lions. But we have DeAndre Swift and we have David Montgomery entering the draft of 2023. The timeline scenario is this. What if we don't trade back and take Jahmyr Gibbs? We keep DeAndre Swift. We have David Montgomery. And we took Jalen Carter, 6 overall. We still took Jack Campbell at 18. Our running back room going into the 2023 season is DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery. Our defensive line has Aleem McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, Jalen Carter. Jahmyr Gibbs is on a different team. Even with the hindsight, which timeline are you going with? Are you going with the one we took, which is trade back, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, so on and so forth? Now, everything else stays the same. Everything else stays the same. I can't remember what we got by trading back, so maybe it alters it somehow. But let's just assume for the sake of this timeline experiment that everything stayed the same. All right? Which one are you taking? Are you taking Jalen Carter, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, or are you taking the one that we took? Now, that might mean that somebody down the line wasn't picked because I cannot remember what we got by trading back. And how different would the team look? How different would the team look? Would our defensive line be better than it is right now? Right? There's a lot of, and this was just for fun. This was for fun because you have to be willing to make the tough choices. You have to be willing sometimes that you have to prioritize talent, especially if you have built the culture that can sustain somebody who necessarily doesn't really fit the mold. And who knows if that culture you have, it can rub off on that player and make them a better person. So I'm not saying that we're talking about Jalen Carter on the football field. Which one are you taking? Timeline A is we take Jalen Carter at 6. We take Jack Campbell at 18. Our running back room is DeAndre Swift and David Montgomery, or Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, and of course, whatever came from that. So, and how different, the point I'm trying to make is how different would our team be? We might, and the reason that I'm talking about this is look at the Houston Texans. Woody Marks, Nick Chubb, who is not the same Nick Chubb he was. Doesn't matter because their defense won't let you get anywhere. They're number 1. Heading into week 18, the Houston Texans were number 1 in total defense, number 4 in pass defense, number 4 in run defense, number 1 in points per game. Total defense. And they got Nick Chubb and Woody Marks in a backfield. Think about the Baltimore Ravens with Trent Dilfer as their quarterback. I don't even remember, was it Jamal? I don't remember who the running back was for that Baltimore Ravens team. I have no clue. Maybe it was Jamal Lewis. I think that's his name. Maybe it was. I don't remember. That's how irrelevant. I don't remember. All I know is that Ray Lewis was on that defense and they didn't let nobody, they won with that defense. So, which one are you taking? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we wouldn't have had Brian Branch. Okay, fine. Fine. We don't have Brian Branch. Fine. I thought that was the one. So we don't have Branch. And so is it Brian Branch or is it Laporta? Which one don't we have? Either one. Either one. It doesn't matter. Take them out. Whoever it is, just use that timeline and take out whoever. Take out whoever what came from that, take them out. Is it Brian Branch or is it okay, so you definitely have the 3 players. We need to change the mold, says Lions. What's crazy is that Will Anderson wouldn't fit with the size profile we want for this game. Well, who knows though, Lions? Who knows? I think the players dictate the scheme. I mean, and then some guys transcend scheme, bro. Like some guys do that. Texans probably lose versus Pats. I agree, Lions. I'm tired of the slow edge setters. We need some speed on defense ASAP. Well, hey, look, that's Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. That's Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. The Seahawks win over Broncos was all defense also. Here's all I'm saying. Okay, Will says, to be honest, I'll be good with Swift and Monty. Yeah, Gibbs is generational, but I'd rather bolster our D-line, and we have 2 above average backs. Okay, so even with everything said, here are what the facts seem to be, right? Is that typically defense wins championships, right? Typically. Your offense can be cute. Look at where our offense has gotten us. Now, you can blame coaching. You can blame scheme. You can blame not taking the points. You can blame a whole lot of things, right? But these cute offenses, where are they? Where are you ending up? Where are you ending up with these cute offenses? Typically at the crib. Like real talk. You have to have a defense. When you are in the playoffs, you're going against the best of the best of the best. We're watching the Jaguars defense Imagine if the Jaguars had a little bit of a better offense. I'm watching them. I'm like, man, they like flies on stuff, bro. Whoop, they zip right on it. And I'm like, dang, man, I wish that was my team. Could you imagine? Let's put it like this. All right. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's say that you have this is also just fun for fun's sake. Do you think the Lions, how far do you think the Lions team would get if we had the Denver Broncos defense and we had the team was the same except Jahmyr Gibbs and whoever we got with his pick? What team would you rather have? Like, what team do you think would go further? Do you think the team, if you had the Denver Broncos defense or the Texans defense, that's even better. You got the Texans defense, our offense with no Gibbs and Laporta, whoever it was. Which team do you think goes further? Let me see. We don't have them now. I would take Branch or Laporta over what you're offering. They're both elite in my opinion. Okay, so Tech, I'm going to call Cap. I'm going to call Cap on most of y'all in the comment section. I am. I'm going to call Cap. I'm calling Cap on 98% of y'all. You're only doing that because he's on the team. That's it. You would take a no-name offense. And I'm not telling you how to fan. I'm calling Cap, bro. You would take a no-name offense in a Super Bowl over all this high-flying, acrobatic, the flying Graysons, stumble bum, all of that stuff, bro. I find it hard to believe that you would actually do that. I do, bro. I have to call Cap. Let me see. Dern, call the number on the screen, bro. Leave a message. If you can. I know you're at work, so you might not be able to do it. But let's take one more voice. Let me check and see if we got any more voice messages. And then we will end the show for today. I don't know, man. I have to call Cap. I got to call Cap. Okay, wait a minute. Really? Okay. All right. Okay. So we've got some updated news. I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this, but most of y'all saw that coming. I don't know, bro. I'm calling Cap on y'all. I think y'all capping. I do. I think no matter how you try to deny it, bro, I think you capping. Because anything that would equal a Super Bowl, you would take. And right now, our defense is not Super Bowl caliber. That's the thing. We wouldn't have to choose. We had 2 drafts to go get someone. Jay, but yet and still, here we are. Yet and still, here we are. And now Brad Holmes is in a sticky situation because we've already gone over the candidates or the free agent defensive ends, and they ain't looking too good. They're not looking too good, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Nope. Okay, so hold on now. Okay. What we doing? Nope. Hold on, give me a second. Checking some things real quick. Is this the one? Dog. Okay. Nothing. Okay. Let me see. This is the draft we double dip. Oh, I'm glad you said that, bro. I'm glad you said that. Lions Live says bunch of big edges this year. But what will Brad do? What will he do? That's the question. That is the question. All right. I got way too many segments, so I think I got to start putting some stuff on XL. Syndicate Sports XL. There is another channel called Syndicate Sports XL. It is a runoff channel of when we do branch and outside of Detroit Lions content, and we've got Red Wings and we've got Pistons and we've got Tigers and Lions and Bears, oh my, right? Then instead of putting a bunch of videos on this channel I want 2 to 3 a day. The other one will take whatever's left from segments will go on Syndicate Sports XL. Syndicate Sports Detroit XL. It is a thing. It does exist. Look it up. You'll find it. Because here's what I wanted to say. All right, so I've been criticizing Brad Holmes a lot, and I think he's earned it. Like, there's no doubt about it, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep holding him accountable like I've been doing. But I'm also going to see what he can do. I'm going to give him yet another year to see what he can do. See if he really did learn his lesson. Now, this is the first time that we've really, in my opinion, he's really been under any pressure, to be honest. In 2022, when we were 1-6, we was calling for his job. I know. I was like, I don't know if these are guys, right? I don't know if that. I don't know. I mean, you're 3-13-1. You start off 1-6. You have the worst defense historically. You are trending that way. Now, turns out that last season, somebody actually did get that title. I can't remember what team it was. The worst defense in like NFL history, allowing the most points. But let's see. Brad Holmes was at his best, in my opinion. Well, he's had flashes. And the first 3 years, 2.5 was up there. They were outstanding for the most part. Couple misses in there, Levi, Josh. Couple things that fell flat. I think James Mitchell, he was a 5th round pick, but you're not going to hit. Iffy was a guy that was like sneaky good. See what I did there? He was a sneaky surprise. Iffy. Kirby, knock it out the park. Aleem McNeil, stellar pick, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown. That first draft was really, to me, when he really got to shine. You really got to shine. You took what Matt Patricia left you with, which was 5 picks. You flipped them to 7. Because a lot of people don't remember that we were down a pick because we traded for Everson Griffin at the trade deadline. That's right. Everson Griffin. I was on the pass rush back then. You can check the tape. It wasn't on this channel. It was a different one. Well, yeah, it was a different one from the one you might be thinking of. But this defensive draft, I've been told, is draft heavy, okay? Pass rusher heavy, edge heavy. And from what we've seen of Brad Holmes, he don't give a fart about the pass rush. That is a fact. He didn't. Maybe he does. I don't think he does. And I don't think that we're going to see a different Brad Holmes in this regard. I don't. And it's based off something he said at the press conference last Thursday. What did he say? I don't know how many teams have an 11-sack guy and a 14.5-sack guy. However, he does know that he has to replace Marcus Davenport and Al-Qadim Muhammad. So in doing that, he might actually draft a edge, finally, before the 6th round. You took Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Paschal, and I want to say that Josh Paschal was the last edge that was drafted prior to the 6th round. James Houston was 6th round. Ahmed Hassanin, hair on fire, but can't play a snap in the regular season for whatever reason. He was the 6th round. Makai Wingo, he was also the 6th round, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, this is Brad Holmes' time to shine. This is how you get out of this hole. What do you see Brad Holmes doing with these picks? This is coming from Detroit Lions on SI. Shout out to John Macaron and those guys over there. Here is what the Lions have. They have a 1st round pick, a 2nd round pick. They have a 4th round pick. Don't forget, no 3rd. And they have a 5th round pick. And then you have these picks here. Now, I think it could be some type of conditional pick or thing in there. Not a conditional pick. Compensatory pick. Somewhere in here, from some caveat down the line, we could see an additional pick. I'm not certain about that, but what can Brad Holmes? Where would he take the edge rusher at? We've seen him trade up. We've seen him take guys. He always talk about best player available, and I call cap. I call cap on that. Why do I call cap? Because there's only one way to call cap on this. And I think y'all know where I'm going. With the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Broderick Martin. There's no way he was the best player available. Ain't no way. So anytime he says BPA, I'm calling cap. He drafts and trades up for what he wants and who he wants. And does Brad Holmes want an edge rusher? I don't know. Because don't forget, free agency comes before the draft, and we could see any number of guys come back. Al-Qadim Muhammad, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike. We could see any of those guys come back. Pat O'Connor. Like, real talk. Who knows? James Houston might even come back to Detroit. I don't know. I don't know what his deal looking like. Maybe. We'll see. Do you think that Brad Holmes is going to do anything different? I don't know. He claims that he's going to follow a very similar approach, but that you have to evolve. How much is Brad Holmes going to evolve? If this is a pass rusher, edge heavy draft, you have multiple opportunities. Where do you take your guy? Do you take him in round 1, 2? Do you make a trade? I want to say Brad Holmes has traded in every single draft, and it will be one here. But one thing that is clear beyond a shadow of every doubt is that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell cannot miss in free agency or the draft. They have to have a draft and an offseason in the 99th percentile if they want to have a successful 2026 season. And by success, I don't mean a winning record. I don't mean a division win. I don't mean a playoff win. I mean a NFC appearance, NFC championship appearance. Bare minimum. If we are going to talk about your future being past 2027, you have to get us there this season. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think how much do you think Holmes evolved? Now, you know what I noticed, folks, is that my Brad Holmes videos, y'all are sick of him. Y'all are sick of that man. Y'all are sick, and I think he did it to himself. Y'all are sick to death of Brad Holmes, bro. You thought the pass rusher stuff was bad? Derek, how many times are you that? How you just can't that? You thought y'all are over Brad Holmes, bro. I'm telling you. With that being said, there's only one way I know how to do this. Ha ha ha! Well, we out of time. I'd like to thank my guests, the incredible people in the chat. Shout out to everybody that super chatted. GS, Rufus, appreciate you. Appreciate Lions, everybody that called in. If you're watching this on playback, the number that you see, you can call it and you can leave a voicemail. Don't text, because I like the voicemails better. Plus, I want to bring them in for content. All right, let me see. We got one more call, and then we will go with that. All right, who is this? Who is this that called? I need your name and where you're calling from. Act like this is a radio show. Who's 507? 507, you called 10 minutes ago. Big Black, is that you? Oh, darn, that's you. Okay. Big Black, Oh. Wait a minute. Big Black, are you 248? Just give me the first, give me your area code. 508. No, you ain't in here, bro. No, you got time, though. Call in. Call in real quick. Number on the screen. Is that number? Okay, it's right, because Dern called. All right. Here's our guy, Dern, in the chat. You guys have seen me on Lion Syndicate with him. Here is his thoughts on an earlier topic.
Mom? Hey, bro. Yeah. I'm okay with
Man. See, here we go with this again. Hold on, y'all. I got to turn off my phone. I'm gonna play with this cord today. See it? You know what? See that? That was my phone disconnecting. So that's what that was. It only does this with this app. It doesn't do this like with the regular phone call. So I need to play around with this cord. I bought a cord. It was like $75, man. It's supposed to work with this system that I have, and I need to plug it in. Hey, nephew, you called what? A couple of days ago, right? All right, let me do this. So I had to reset my phone. I'm gonna play with that cord tomorrow. Don't forget, no show tomorrow. Tomorrow we're on Lions Syndicate for Lions, Detroit Lions Weekly. I will probably be taking phone calls over there as well. All right, let me set up the Bluetooth yet again, and then we'll take these last couple of calls, and we will wrap up the show. I just want to say, man, thank you guys for the support. I am in talks with some people that reached out to me. They would like to. I had reached out to them earlier. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but they want to have a show on the channel. So, and it's a different type of content. It's not just Lions. It is NFL, but it's not all Lions. It's a little bit of a flair to it. And I think that we are going to hit 6K by February 1st. I mean, we are cruising along. This channel is growing faster than Lions Syndicate. So, Lions Syndicate hit a wall this year, man. It's kind of tough. Okay. All right. Let me bring in this, and then we will bring in these last two calls, and we will go from there. Don't forget, when you do call, leave your name. Just say, Derek from Michigan or something like that. You don't got to be like, Derek, and I live it. You don't got to do all that. Just Derek from Michigan or wherever. All right. Here is my man. No, that's okay. Here's Rob, and Rob called yesterday as well.
Derek, what up, dog? This is Rob, a.k.a. Sports Talk with Rob, a.k.a. Big Back for Life, and one half of the Lions East YouTube channel. Hey, man, there's a few things I want to say. First thing first, bro. Look, bro, I'm really, really irritated with Brad Holmes. If you ask me, bro, after that press conference, bro, I want him out now. Because especially, I ain't like how his response when he talked about David Montgomery. Because my thing is, how the heck you not sure you want to keep him or not? Because you the one traded up for him, and you the one extended him last year. And all of a sudden, you're not sure you want to keep him or not? That was a total disrespect, man. And Demo don't deserve that, bro. Honestly, that's the reason why I feel like our team falling off now, because the Sonic and Knuckles era just went out the window. Also, I question sometimes how much trust do we have in Dan? Because every time somebody mention about Dan bringing in players, he always want to say, well, as long as Dan bring the right players with the right stuff. Like, do you not trust Dan bringing the right players? Has he not earned your trust? Like, and my thing is, I don't care who you bring in. I feel like Dan earned enough respect from players across the league that regardless of who they are, they gonna want to fit in with Dan regardless. It's just like the Patriots. You think the Patriots pick players by, if they have the Patriot way mentality? No, they don't care who they are. Regardless who you are, once you walk in this building, you won't act how we want you to act. And that's just the bottom line, And also, Sheila Hamp. I respect Sheila so much because I felt like what she do, she played her role. You know what I'm saying? She don't never get in Dan and Brad way. But I think this time around, I think maybe she need to step in a little bit. Maybe she need to have a little bit more of a say so when it comes to bringing players in and drafting players. Maybe giving Brad too much freedom. Maybe it's not a good idea because sometimes Brad be beside himself. Honestly, I think he's been hiding under the Rams draft picks. I think the Rams draft picks made him look good. How about that? But yeah, man. But what you think, man? Also, I think if Brad don't get it together, man, I see Dan and my boy on my Lions East YouTube. He mentioned this. I think Dan one day will be the Lions GM one day. You know what I'm saying? But what you think about everything I just said? Keep doing your thing, bro.
Yo, that was That was spicy. That was spicy, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've been saying for a while that I think that Holmes, he's been hiding from or hiding through. Here's what I think. I think that was a great point, Rob. Shout out to you and for using the line. And look, I'm trying to give y'all an alternative to Woodward. Like, and we just now getting started. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of stuff planned. As long as I have the passion to do so. So my ultimate goal is to get into a studio. That's the ultimate goal, but it got to make sense. Other hosts and stuff like that. Like, I legitimately feel like we could do a better job than them. With I've always thought that creation should be in the hands of creators. It shouldn't be in the hands of like these overlord companies. You know what I'm saying? So that's still my mission, to give you guys that type of content. So with that being the case, I have been saying this, that I think that Brad Holmes, the first year he had, if you go back to his opening press conference, and he mentioned the Rams, and we'll take one more call. He mentions the Rams as much as he does. And he mentions that he had extensive, like all he was doing was scouting for that year's draft, and he knocked it out of the park. St. Brown, you did your thing, right? You killed that draft, Panay Sewell, like you did that. And that's when, okay, well, could we have taken Jamar Chase, and were the Bengals going to take him, and all of this other, Micah Parsons came out that draft. You did all of this stuff. And there was a lot of people that wanted Micah Parsons, but you knocked it out of the park. You turned lemons into lemonade, like you really did. Because Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn left you a little bit on an island, and you were able to get some solid guys, foundational pieces from that draft. Then, to Rob's point, in 2022 and 3, you have the Matthew Stafford picks. And right after you ran out of those picks, you got super pedestrian. So I like that. I've said that is he hiding behind, or is he really pedestrian, or is he really that dude? Because if you encapsulate year one, this is what you're focused on. These are your words. You focused on, you were super locked into that draft. You knew you were getting a job, and you were still the director of scouting at that time. So it was your job to be locked in. So you're locked in, you kill it. You come out, you do pretty good in 2022, Jameson Williams, all that stuff. You did your thing. You killed 2023. 2023 to me was probably overall like his best kind of boom, 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 boom. You hit 4 picks in a row. And then after that, not so much. So, and with Brad and Dan only having currently 2 years remaining on their deal, how much time does he have to fix it? So I like that. All right. Here's our last call. Shout out to Dern. And Dern, let me hear what you got to say, bro.
My man. Hey, brother. Yeah, I'm okay with the Gibbs pick. He's been a generational player. No one knew he was going to be this good. So that's not the problem. Jalen Carter had multiple issues. There was that rumor that he could have jail time with his issues about the whole person dying when they were racing. So my problem with Brad Holmes is that he trades up for project players, Broderick Martin, Giovanni Manu. He never uses that capital to go get established players at the trade deadline. Make that make sense. And then he drafts hurt players all the time, whether that's Josh Pascal, Blake Straw. That's a big problem. So if he stopped drafting hurt players and using capital to trade up for these project players and use that to get established players, we'd be so much farther along than where we are. That's just the way I feel. I still don't like Jalen Carter. He spits on people. He gets suspended for spitting on people. It is what it is. That's my take, brother.
Yeah, and you know what, man? Those are valid points, bro. They really are, because Jalen Carter is a menace. He's a menace. And he reminds me a lot of Ndamukong Suh. He really, truly does. And I was watching Ndamukong Suh on Bussin' with the Boys, and I was like, man, when you listen to him, you be like, this can't be the same dude. You know what I'm saying? But Ndamukong didn't have, not any off the field issues that I recall. But Jalen Carter, yeah, I think he's kind of a level up for that or one or two. And when you talk about like jail time and stuff, so I know that there was a lot of fans. I know you weren't one of them, neither was I, that still wanted him no matter what. And I think that was the point. All right, we got one more call and we'll wrap up the show, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yo, it's Eric, man. What's up? I'm just calling to let you know. I want to talk about Mike McDaniel and also want to talk about the draft a little bit. Obviously, Mike McDaniel's the right choice, but I'm not going to lie. Another candidate I think might be underrated, Jake Peets. He has a lot of history when it comes to being coordinator for other teams and pass game coordinators. I think that's a guy that you might want to check out a little bit. He was Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. He's been around, so. But obviously Mike McDaniel's a choice. Draft-wise, first round, we got to go with offensive tackle Francis Mangala from University of Miami. And then second round, we got to get Akeem Mesidor. Those are the guys that I feel like will make a splash immediately on our team. So, yeah. Also, Marcus Davenport is refined. Brad Holmes has to go. Matter of fact, we can both go pick him up. We can take him to the Detroit airport and then ship him off. All right, now.
Hey, shout out. Hey, look, them guys on the U, I'm like, yo, I was not familiar with your game. So 100%, man. All right, so here's what I'm going to work on during the offseason. I'm going to work on a screen that when we cut to callers, it'd be like caller on the line and stuff like that, and I'll either get smaller or disappear from the screen. And I think it was some good points in there. Absolutely. Davenport, come back. You got to go. And I think this is the most interested that I am seeing the draft. Like, I am ready for April because I'm also ready for free agency. And I think that we'll know by May 1st, is this it for Brad? Is this it for Brad? Like, real talk. Because here's what I want y'all to understand, and we'll wrap up the show. Is when we define success for Brad, for the Detroit Lions going forward, we are not talking about a division title. We're not talking about a playoff win. We're not talking about a home playoff game. We are talking about bare minimum NFC Championship appearance. So for me, anything but that one thing is a failure. So making the playoffs ultimately is not progression. In this point, under this regime, think about this. They set the bar so high that progression for this regime is a Super Bowl. Think about that. Think about that. Anything else that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell does outside of making a Super Bowl is progression. Is regression. When your lateral move is getting to the NFC Championship game, that is a high bar. And if these guys want to be the next John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan or any other GM tandem that is always in competition, except the one, I'm hoping that this year is like the Rams 2022 season or the 49ers 2024 season. I'm hoping it's like that. But we will know everything we need to know about both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell after 2026. With that being said, I will end the show now. Yes, we have been trying to do callers for the longest. I'm not done. We are bringing in guests. I just got to figure out how to do this. The issue I'm having is my mixer. I'll put it out there if anybody knows this. I use a software and I use my mixer is the Rodecaster Pro 2. Okay. It is probably the best thing on the market. I've loved the brand. So what's happening is my caller audio is coming back to them and they can hear themselves. I only hear them once, but they hear an echo. And I have been trying to figure this out. I've been with Rode, the software company. I've looked on YouTube. I've looked online. And everything that I've tried is not working. So if anybody has any ideas, please email the email in the description, or if you have my Twitter, you can hit me up there, and hopefully you can help me figure it out, because once that gets worked out, we're going to start bringing on guests and fellow YouTube creators, people who maybe some fans of the team, fans of the show. You know what I'm saying? We can bring them on and hear what they have to say. With that being said, man, enjoy your Wednesday, and I will see you guys on Friday. And I'm like, yo, man, when is the next time we hear from somebody? Oh, I gotta say, yo, I found out yesterday that Dietrich Fur is going out of business. If you know, you know. Dietrich Fur, bro. I thought about this last night. I was like, yo, I might have to go up there. I might have to go over there. It was a dude I saw on the news yesterday. Dietrich Fur. He had on it looked like a lion's fur, bro. I was like, dang, I would kill for that. So Dietrich Fur been around since 1892, and they are going out of business. They closed their doors April 1st. They're having up to 70% off, man. People were waiting for, if you know, you know. If you know, you know, man. But shout out to Dietrich Fur, man. I remember the commercial when I was a little kid. And it's like, it was super sad. Never thought about owning a fur until I found out they was going out of business. I was like, I feel like I needed a piece of history. But if you know, you know. Shout out to Dietrich Fur, one of my childhood memories from their commercial. With that being the case, man, I appreciate y'all. And I will see you on Friday on this channel here. I need to go eat. My stomach ain't playing around. It's crazy. I don't know if y'all heard it. It was loud, though.
Hello, good morning. Horns is blowing, and I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the motor city, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the motor city, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.